So how have you heard from the new buyer? Hopefully not.
I have not heard from the new buyer, and I actually live in the neighborhood, so I kind of feel a little guilty. I haven't gone over there. I did meet them prior to them moving in, though. But I don't even know to this day if they've moved in because they're doing all the renovations because there were so many repairs to be made, which we were able to turn into the lender to help that negotiation.
Yeah, it was quite a house. So, looking forward to doing easier and simpler deals with you from here on.
Well, it'll definitely be easier because we had spent so much time prior to you coming on, which it's almost like some agents will do a short sale and they'll say, "I'll never do one again."
Yeah, that's the wrong attitude.
It's the wrong attitude.
That's like saying if your first date goes bad, you're like, "I'm not doing dating anymore. I'm never gonna love."
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never gonna love again.
Fortunately, I had done them before, and they were painful, but not as painful as this particular one. But again, when you came along, it was a lot easier, and I'm now excited about doing short sales. I'm really excited. Number one, I've been educated quite a bit through the transaction, which is a blessing, and then to be able to go out and help others in the same situation, to be able to hopefully satisfy that debt versus just release the lien. To be able to walk away, hopefully, without that liability against them is definitely a benefit if we can do that.
Right. And yeah, I'm curious. Even though it's hard to get the seller in the beginning to realize that it's a short sale, but when they finally realize it's a short sale, they may still have an attachment to how high the offer is.
Yes.
Mine seems low.
Yes.
But I'm wondering, what would you say to a seller? And would you say to a seller anything about why it might be good for them to take this low offer now rather than doing battle with all the buyers that walk and go take the REO down the street or whatever, or the other property that doesn't require a short sale or whatever? Because of what happened on this property, went from 2.1 to 1.95 to 1.8. They eventually sold it to me for 1.35. I mean, that's a huge difference in 6 or 7 months, right?
Huge.
It's almost $1 million change. If my offer had been made 6 or 7 months earlier, it probably would have been at 1.8.
Yes.
And maybe higher. So I'm just curious what you would say to a seller at the beginning. Would you recommend that they take what seems like a low offer in the beginning, which might end up being higher than
what I tell them is having a low offer is actually an advantage to you as a seller. You might not think that way really in the beginning, but if we have a low offer, and one of the goals of you doing a short sale is to stay in the house longer, is it's going to take longer to negotiate. So therefore you get to stay there longer. And also we really want to beat them down because we want to tell them everything that's wrong with the property and get it as low as possible. And it's just a starting point. I just say it's a starting point. And you have to realize that this is an investor. And investors typically will, throw out an offer 70, 80% on a dollar. And that's pretty much what you do. So you throw that out, and it's just the beginning stages. So it's just something to work with the lender.
Right.
The beginning stages. It's not that.
And what if and if I don't get my offer approved, well, at least we know what the bank's bottom line is. I'm going to find out. I'm going to pre-negotiate their bottom line, and then we can go. You can put the property into the market for a retail buyer, even if I have to back out, and we'll know what's going to get accepted, and it's already gone through the whole process, and the bank already knows, okay, we'll accept that price right there, and then we just go and give it to them, and it's just done.
Right.
So.
Well, some of the thought process might be that from a seller, this is a joke. They're not going to take 70% on a dollar or 80% on a dollar. And I just try and ease it in and say, look, this is just going to help you be able to stay also in your property longer. And we're going to be able to negotiate it out. This is not the actual offer that's going to go through. Because it'd be very rare if that is the case.
Right.
So don't think about that this is the purchase price. We just need to move forward and start making this happen so that you don't have a foreclosure sale this month.
Right.
Or next month that we're trying to avoid. So the goal is to make it happen and help you with this transaction to come to a close, to ease your credit report and whatever might else be a benefit to you.
And also, if I do get an offer that's accepted that's low enough, then I've got a profit margin, because obviously that's what I'm in the business for, and I can do things with that profit margin that benefit the seller.
Correct.
In a legal way, for example, like on the Mesa Ridge property, the second lien holder wanted $15,000, and the first lien holder was only gonna allow, I'm sorry, I got that wrong, they wanted 25, right?
Mhm.
So the first lien holder would allow $15,000 to come out of the gross proceeds, gross purchase price, and allow that much to go to the second lien holder out of their net. So $15,000, but the second lien holder wanted 10,000 more than that.
Yeah, they're
And
like
first
two
lien-
little 2-year-olds.
Two little 2-year-olds fighting, and you're like, people, there's so much more at stake here.
Yeah.
But ultimately somebody had to bring that $10,000 extra because the junior was not gonna let go of that. We tried for a couple months, the whole time. It was 90, actually it was 120 days of pounding on them, saying, give it up, we can't get you the extra 10,000. They said, then don't do a short sale because we'll just take them to court. And so had to come out of my pocket.
Well,
but at least I was I got made a little bit of money on it, so I was happy.
Well,
happy to do that.
And a lot of times these banks, there's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. It's amazing. Like, you bring them a good offer and they turn it down.
You're not dealing with totally rational entities all the time. Sometimes you are, and they're dealing with incomplete information sometimes, and sometimes it's just, I believe, that they just stonewall because they sense when they're going to be able to, even if they don't believe our bluff.
Right.
And they were right. I had extra money to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
My bluff didn't. It was kind of a bluff, I guess, to say like we can't do this.
Right.
So, and I wanted to have the extra money available to. I wanted to have enough so I could actually settle with them, not just get the lien released for the seller, but also settle the debt for the seller. But that was actually going to require $70,000 to $100,000 total.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't in the deal to do. And
Right.
sometimes I can bring in an extra amount of money that will settle the debt. It just wasn't gonna, on that one, I had to bring extra money just to release the lien,
Right.
much less settle the debt.
Well, that's one of the
But-
things that, in negotiating, is we come back to the seller and say, look, here's what I've done, this is what I can do. If there's any way, because, to settle the debt versus get the liability, to trail after you after the close, is to see if they have any money to bring to the table, because sometimes they do, if they realize that liability is gonna stay with them. And then if they can bring money in, they can do that too.
You mean the seller?
Yeah, the seller,
Right.
to
Or they
clear
can
that
sign a
out.
promissory note. Sometimes the banks will accept a promissory note.
Mhm.
It's not a settlement exactly, but it's preferable to just having this sum that they're gonna get hounded about.
Right.
And then you can take those promissory notes and then do a settlement on those later.
Yeah.
So if you can get a promissory note with a nice low payment over 10 years or something, you make a few payments on it, and then a little bit later, the seller themselves or somebody that they hire could call up and say, you know what, we just came into a little bit of money, we have $5,000, would you take that against the $20,000 note,
Right.
or whatever it is.
And be able to negotiate it
Yeah,
then.
'cause we really just wanna have an easier budget, we don't mind just handling this now, and they might get that
Mhm.
settled at that point. So, anyway, there's a number of different options.
Yeah.